Hello, wonderful world. It's Jennifer here at Eureka Astrology and Healing, and today we're going to be talking about the Aries full moon. The Aries full moon is on September 29th at 4:57 a.m. Central Standard Time. And today I'm going to try to give an overall story or energy with this chart. I've looked at it a lot, and some charts really speak to me and bring this story to me. And this one, the story today is going to be about Aries and Libra. And first, I just want to say my notables, and take note that, before we even get into it, that this affects everyone differently by and depending on where this falls in your chart. And so you'll hear me talk a lot about Aries and a lot about Libra. And so you may not know anything about astrology, but if you do know a little bit about astrology, it'd be really fun for you to take a look at your chart and see where these signs fall in your chart, because the themes that I'm talking about are going to be really impactful in those houses, aka those areas. And so, say for instance, it was in your first and your seventh house, because remember they're opposites always, especially because it's a full moon. That's a lot to do with your body and yourself, and then relationships, and that's actually the houses that Aries and Libra rule. But it could be somewhere else. It could be home and what you're doing out in the world, your duties to society, potentially your career. So it will be fun for you to take a look and see if you do know that. You don't have to, though, because like I said, I think you'll be seeing a lot of these energies play out around everyone. And I just wanted to kind of take note, like I'm doing this outside and it actually looks brighter than it is. It's about to storm. It's kind of quiet, it's dark, and if you can see the plants, everything looks kind of like it's gonna die or is about to go to seed and get ready for death. And this is the season of Libra. You know, it's the season where we're starting to socialize. People are going back to school. There's a lot more, summer's over, right? The playtime is over. Leo's over, and now it's time to start getting back into the social things in the world, whatever that means for you. But that being said, too, it's also leading us into the part where it's like this, there's some cycles ending here. And, we had Aries and Taurus off in the spring, starting things, new life, seeds, flowers, plants. And now it's like, well, there's some things to harvest still. And then there's just some things that are going to sleep and are really going to start to fall. Like I've got an oak tree back here and the leaves are slowly changing colors. It's about to turn here, and I think that energy is very prevalent. I've noticed that a lot of people have been running really hard. Several people, including myself, have said, I feel like I've been running a marathon, when someone has asked, when prompted, saying, how are you doing? It's like, well, I'm doing good, but I feel like I just keep running a marathon that's never finishing. And I don't want to say we're getting to the finish line, but if you live in a place that has seasons, and if you're in the Northern Hemisphere right now, we're about to slow down, just naturally. If you are in tune with nature and cycles, it's like, this is the time to go like, slow down a little bit here. It's okay. And we have that reflected in the chart with a lot of retrogrades. They're more outer planets and social planets, not necessarily the personal, but maybe that's telling us really as a collective, like, hey, we need to just slow down a little bit, take a break. You can't, going forward all the time just burns you out, and it doesn't give you time to reflect. Now the personal planets are all direct, so yay for that, and Venus will be coming out of its shadow, so that means that you still will have steam and the ability to move forward, but collectively there's some time here for some reflection and some deep reflection. So those are some big points, and we're going to get back into the chart here, or like the story that I said. The other two notables that I want to say, of course, it's a full moon. So again, the sun and the moon are going to be opposite here, and the moon is in Aries and the sun is in Libra. And my notables tie into this. So not only do we have this full moon, in these signs, we also have the nodes, and we have the north node in Aries, and that's where the moon is. So there's an extra energy going into this full moon. Now, it's not an eclipse yet. They're far enough apart that it's not there, but it's still enhancing that energy. And so what this tells me is that this gives us double the opportunity to work on some of the things that are coming up. But, in Aries, it looks like also possibly like really intense emotions, hot, fast, and like, I don't want to say double the fight, but like, it's like, let's make this happen. Let's make this happen now, and like no waiting around. And patience could be a theme. And then with the south node, it's in Aries, and that's where the sun is. And so they're not going to conjunct, but there's something saying At the same time, it's like I'm shining a light on this area of relationships and justice and beauty and harmony. There's something that needs to go there, something that needs to leave. It may even be an actual relationship, especially because, and this has kind of got to do with the aspects, Mars is very close to conjuncting the South Node at this time. It'll be there in a couple of days. And that tells me, like, Mars helps cut and sever, and it's like it takes action. So, like, what has to leave for you with relationships? And it doesn't have to actually necessarily be a person. Maybe it's a belief that you have or actions that you do in a relationship, or maybe it really is another person or pattern. It can be very broad. It could also be like, where is there disharmony maybe that needs to go? Because what's interesting about the nodes is on this day, Aries, the asteroid of discord and disharmony, is on that north node. So like there could be a lot of I don't want to say a lot of disharmony, disharmonious things, but like there might things be coming up, but that south node with Mars there is also saying like, but hey, let's let that go. How can we get that disharmony out of here as well? I think that can be a positive thing, but it can be a little bit frenetic. I feel like this is getting hyped up, and I've noticed today, like, it's just a few days away. I'm a little late making the video, so to speak, and I've worked with some customers. I worked at one of the stores that I work at, and people weren't completely hostile, but people were on edge a little bit. And a little bit, you can just tell like a full moon's coming, and also people are a little quick to get, like defensive almost. Very Aries. Now, but what I wanted to really talk about within all the scope is that this moon is the warrior's moon. And I know I've talked about it last year, but last year we did not have the nodes there. So that's a really big, important thing to take note of. And we didn't have quite so many planetary placements at that time. And so the warrior's moon is telling us here, so think about it. The full moon is a combination energy of the moon, our emotions, what we need. It can be also physical bodies for some people who have an Aries moon. I do. So anyone with an Aries moon, Aries sun, Aries rising, or Aries placements, there's a lot of energy going in there. So, on a more medical astrology note, like the head, people might be getting more headaches, more blood flow to the head, more tinnitus, all those things, even though that can be also partially Taurus, but lots of energy up in here. But that being said, this is a warrior's moon. It's not a young warrior. It's not the warrior who's just coming out. Like, it's not the recruit or the cadet or the kid who's like playing with the wooden swords. And it's not the retired, soldier, aka like really like a general or someone who's totally gone through and mastered everything. This is someone who's at their prime, right? And what does a warrior need? Well, first they need courage, right? And how do they get courage? It's usually through discipline. Some people have natural courage, but there's some elements about this moon that is asking us to kind of be at the top of our game, and how we're going to get there is through discipline, really. And so really, I have my notes here, the message I kind of got was like, drop the excuses. Because, everyone thinks like, oh yeah, Aries are so confident and they're out there and doing it and taking charge and da-da-da. Well, they are being asked every day to step up to that plate. And not all Aries are. Some Aries, if they don't allow themselves to get through the fear or the worry or whatever, they don't step up to that plate. And so this is a warrior who has to go through a lot of obstacles. Like, so there can be physical training, right? This is maybe asking you to do physical training, especially if this is in your first house, or maybe it's got to do with some aspects with the body. But it can be any kind of training and discipline where it's like, no, you're going to get up, you're going to do this routine over and over again, because through that repetition and that discipline, you get stronger, you get more knowledgeable. It becomes second nature. It's like in muscle memory, right? You don't have to stop and think of like left foot forward, twist. No, you're just like, it's there. But so what are the other excuses that could stop a warrior from being the full warrior? Well, there's a lot of things. There can be impatience, wrath, impulsiveness, laziness. I don't want to get up. I don't want to train. I don't want to do this. I don't want to have to do this. I don't want to. Pettiness, just like, well, I worked so hard, so I deserve XYZ because I've been training so hard and I've been putting my neck on the line. And then just like, fear, right? And so again, this would be really interesting to see where it falls for people's charts, because I think this is going to come up, because that north node, even though it's not conjunct the moon, is really bringing that energy. And it's like, where do you need to be courageous? What what cause are you picking up in your life that you need to really go with full gusto and be like, I'm doing this and I am moving forward and nothing is stopping me? Because that is what we're being called to do right now, because that is what a warrior does. It picks up a purpose and it goes forward without being questioned. And even if it is questioned by somebody or something, it's like, I know what I'm doing. And we know that like deeply that could if there's like mixed beliefs or things and stuff, but it could be a little not so solid. But really, hopefully the warrior at this point is seasoned enough to pick a worthy, just cause, right? That's the sun. Libra, what is the just cause? What is there for you? The sun is shining on that, so you have an opportunity to see that. And Pallas Athena, the asteroid Pallas Athena, is conjunct the sun at that time, so there's a wisdom about this justice and what you need to be coming in. So pay attention, and pay attention to if you see, like I said, some of these traits in you or others around you. Like I said, wrath or like just anger, impatience, the pettiness. And I have impulsiveness too, just like, yeah, I'm gonna do this without a thought, which is a positive aspect of Aries, but it can be too impulsive sometimes. And if you see that, like, what is it around, and what may be stopping the discipline part of being able to go, showing up, doing it, not complaining about it, and also maintaining when maybe challenged by irritating things, right? It's definitely a possibility. And like I said, thinking about that Aries, like there's also the Chiron's been in Aries for a while, and Chiron is the wounded healer, where we can make our best medicine. And so collectively, we can make our best medicine from Aries right now. It's been there for quite some time, and it's going to continue to be there. And so this is adding this undercurrent of like where people might be a little fearful to step up and be like, well, I don't know if I have what it takes physically, emotionally, maybe whatever it could be. Maybe I don't feel like I have the resources, or maybe they aren't too impulsive, or maybe they do get too angry too quick and just like mess up every opportunity they get because they just blow up at the drop of a hat. So there's an opportunity to work with this collectively as this North Node is going through there, and this moon is shining this light on here, and we're heading into eclipse season for Aries and Libra. This one is not going to be. We're going to have a Taurus eclipse a little bit coming up here, but it will then shift into officially Aries and Libra, so where there's definitely going to be these deep and strong energies. So this is kind of like a preview of these next year and a half for the eclipses. And so take note, because I do think it's going to be very powerful. There are other aspects happening here, some harmonious, some a little hard, especially around like valuing, making sure you value yourself. Especially that'll help you with your courage, going like, yes, like maybe you are the just cause. Like, I need to value myself more and put myself out there, and I can do this. And there is Venus is still in Leo right now, giving some funky aspects to the moon, and it might be like, well, I just want to play and I just want to have fun, and there's not a whole lot of discipline with Venus being in I say that joyously, Venus in Leo, except for maybe the discipline is having fun and being joyful, and that could be your cause. But often sometimes Aries picks a little more sometimes challenging course, but not always. And really, that's the full scope of how I feel about this chart. And I look at it, there are a lot more aspects, but I just felt such a heavy, strong presence with these two, and having so many asteroids and the nodes there. It's just like, that's going to be the flavor. And like I said, there may be more fights, but there may be also, maybe those fights are coming up, or you can call them disagreements, are coming up for that Libra end of like, okay, where do I need to find harmony within how I connect with myself, how I connect with others? Like, is this really working? And we're going to find out, because like I said, that South Node in Libra is going to ask us to help release it if it's not. I think that's pretty much what I want to say about that. So theme really healthy connections and disciplining yourself. But think about it positively, because what is a warrior? I mean, when people see warriors, and everyone has the archetype of a warrior throughout the globe in different ways. And in America, it is soldiers most often. They look in their prime. They look like they are aware. They do things that look almost superhuman. It's because of the discipline, right? And I'm not saying we have to be superhuman, but they show us what it looks like to be at our best, or to push ourselves to be what it looks like to be the best. And it doesn't have to be physically, it can be all kinds of different ways. I don't want to limit that. So, where can you be the best in your life too? So there's a lot of opportunities for this full moon, like acknowledging where you are your best, where you can continue to be your best, how you can strive, to go towards the best. I mean, it's just kind of limitless. With that, I'm Jennifer at Eureka Astrology and Healing. May the stars guide you and the planets ground you. Ciao for now.